So we are live with the Kashik Alvarado of Size 4 at 40. Hi, everybody. Hi. And thank you to everybody who signed up for this screencast today. Hopefully, everybody can hear us. If you can't hear us, let us know. Type something in or something like that. But hopefully, you are able to hear us. And we can talk louder if we need to. So some of you know Dr. Alvarado from who knows, all walks of life. Some of you are very new to Dr. Alvarado and what she's been dealing with or going through over the past 400 plus days. And so basically just wanted to let you know that this is a discussion about her journey in juicing and basically why she decided to start juicing, what she came from, and how her life and body have changed as a result of her juicing. So without further ado, we have Dr. Alvarado right here with us, Dr. Sims Alvarado. And again, she is the face and the body behind Size 4 at 40. So, Krishik, we just want to ask you, what in the world got you started on juicing?
Well, I had tried multiple times and actually tried multiple times. Trying to say I've done everything. I've tried every exercise gimmick there is, and I'm too embarrassed to say how much money that I spent from the time being 15 to being now 41. And I've tried everything under the sun to try to lose weight. And I find myself reaching a certain point after plateau, and maybe like a month or two later, I would actually right back at where I was. I think that is the experience. And what I discovered is that, I wasn't changing my lifestyle. I was dieting. Dieting is very temporary. So I had really to try to like change my mindset about how I actually approach food, how I approach seeing myself physically. That's a whole other discussion I hope we can get into later on.
Well, we can get into it.
Yeah.
Because of what I'm wondering as I listen to you say that you tried this and you tried that, I'm sure that's so just that resonates with so many of us, especially
Right.
once we got into our 30s and then beyond, it's our body changed, and hormones or whatever, we had kids. But I'm just wondering, did you always have a weight problem, or in your mind? Because sometimes we have weight problems and we don't really think, or we don't really have them. But did you always?
I think
kind
it
of
was
struggle with
both.
your weight?
I always struggled with my weight. I can remember, being a young child. I think I started dieting even as a young child, as early as I'm embarrassed to say this, as early as like 3 years old. Um, uh, I developed a nickname for Fatty, and that psychologically calmed me because in my mind I thought that I was fat, even though I wasn't. I remember being a little 11, 12, diet.
And we have a comment from Tawanda saying that the volume seems low.
Okay, so
So,
either can you hear me now? Do I need to just talk louder?
can you hear us now, Tawanda? Okay, thanks. That's good.
Okay, great.
thanks for responding. I try to tell this heifer to speak up. She don't want to listen. So this is what happened.
Okay, I'm going to project. Most of y'all know that I'm from a thespian, so I'm going to project from here. This has been a big.
Thank you for that.
Okay, all right. So
why don't you start over? She was saying that she was talking about how she had gotten started with juicing because she was in and out of the yo-yo dieting, and what I asked her was if she perceived that she always had a weight problem, or is this something that was an onset after 30 or whatever?
I think that in my mind, I think I developed a complex at a very young age about being fat. And in my mind, as I got older, I became kind of like consumed with this image of being wanting to be thinner, and that's because of what you see with the magazines. You hear people say that all the time about these images that we they get in the psyche of young women, and you have an idea of what it is that you're supposed to be or supposed to look like to the world. I'm a former beauty queen of sugar, so I was always in the public eye. And so I became, I don't want to say consumed, but maybe, but in a sense, concerned about the image I was projecting to the public. And I went through these phases of growing up thinking that I was actually bigger than what I actually was. I look at photographs of myself when I was younger, and I say to myself, "Gee, I really wasn't overweight." But then it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. I became overweight.
So you said that, just to stop you, if you guys have questions, please keep asking us, because we are able to see your questions, and we do appreciate all of your comments. But you said that your sibling called you fatty.
Yeah, that was my nickname.
Okay.
It was so embarrassing. Antonio, I hope you're listening. When I was walking down the aisle on my wedding day, he screamed out fatty. But it developed at a very young age that I used to pray as a little girl that I could wake up and be thin. And I remember being 3 or 5 and thinking about my weight. But then, just fast forwarding, when I became a teenager, I was thin because I was very active as a cheerleader, and then puberty hit, and something happened at the age of 15. It was right after my freshman year. I was on the varsity cheerleading squad. I went from being on the top, and some of my friends may remember this, especially some of the young ladies. I hope they're going to chime in, who were former cheerleaders with me. But it was such a blow to my ego. You're at the top of the pyramid, and then by the end of the summer, you find yourself being the base. For those who don't understand that is the foundation of like the pyramid, where the women actually climb on top of each other. And it got to the point also where people began to comment about the way that I looked physically. I remember returning back to school during that fall, and I remember the comments that boys would make. I developed breasts, developed hips and thighs. And I remember people coming up to me. I had like this cheerleading uniform, and people would say, "Oh my gosh, look at that girl's big, beautiful thighs." And of course, Beyonce made me appreciate my thighs a little bit more. But it's such a blow to your ego as well too. And I felt like I couldn't perform as well as I used to as a cheerleader because it was just all in my mind. So you went, you go through that phase, and then you go to college, and then you get to freshman 15. So you're piling on more and more weight, and so I mean, I had tried dieting and thinking that dieting was a certain way. You read these magazines, and they tell you, oh, this is how you're supposed to diet. You're supposed to consume X number of calories a day and burn X number of calories a day. I mean, at a very young age, I knew that in order to burn 1 calorie, in order to lose a pound, you had to burn 3,500 pounds. Calories, right, in order to lose 1 pound. So I became I began to calculate these things, like how much energy do I need to exert, how much calories do I need to consume per day in order to lose X number of X number of pounds, per week. And I just became kind of like obsessed about it, but it seemed like the more obsessed I became about it, the bigger I got.
Well, see, and that's a very interesting thing too, and I'm not a nutritionist and I'm not a doctor, but for the people who are on with us and those who will come on later, I do have a question about how much the complexes we buy into have to do with their self-fulfillment later. Because the world can be very, very, very cruel.
Yes.
And then on top of that, we don't eat well. And we're kind of like trained to not eat very well in this country. We don't know how to read the labels on the backs of products. We think because something says diet that is okay. Meanwhile, we don't know how to check the sodium. So talk to us as you were kind of like going through this assault from society and even family members and things like that. What was your eating like before?
Well, before, it's funny. I can look back at my life at various, at various phases, and I thought that I was eating right, but in actuality I remember when I first started dieting, in high school, I was consuming so much sugar, didn't even realize it. I used to, we lived in a very small town, and my father, he commuted back and forth to work every day. So during the summertime, we had to walk to practice. And yes, I am from the country, but I actually walked a mile every day. No. I take that back. It's actually 3 miles. That's the other thing coming in actually.
I don't know if they can hear that.
Can you hear me? I used to walk 3 miles every morning during the summer to cheerleading practice, and then we would practice for almost 8 hours a day. You're burning a lot of calories, but I was not losing weight. But what I realized is that the reason why I was not losing weight is because I was consuming so many carbs. So as I was burning calories, I was putting calories on, and this is what I mean by this. I used to stop by the store every morning to pick up a bottle of juice, about, I guess it would be a total of about maybe like 16 to 20 ounces of juice.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and what I didn't realize is that within that juice, it contains so much sugar, the carbs. So carbs convert to fat. And so then
almost automatically.
Yeah, almost automatically. And then it's just as crazy because your glycose is, you crash, and then you have a lot of energy, then you crash, then you need more carbs, to get yourself on again. But my entire you need to eat carbs. Fat. So it was actually all of my groups like that. Developed and products that low fat, or no fat, and you just want
And more sodium.
right,
as well.
exactly, because you eat carbs, it's just going to rev up your appetite. It's going to wind up eating more. Also, I had bad eating patterns as well too, eating late at night.
She does. I don't know why she whispered that. She eats late at night, which is not good.
Which is not good. But I found ways to actually to kind of like curb our appetite. If I want something to eat late at night, this is what I'm going to eat. So I'm still dealing with that. So sometimes it's great, but that's not a nocturnal person. But I won't digress. But I was eating all wrong, and then when I got to college, it was kind of like the same thing. Eating ramen noodles. It's full of sodium, full of carbs. Just you're working, your everything is just very fast paced. You're going to school, you don't have access to good quality food. I call it I call it food, the cafeteria. But but the thing is that I was just eating all wrong. And looking back at my life, the main thing that I missed out of my diet was just raw fruit and vegetables. And really, I'm not going to even focus on the fruit. It's really the vegetables that I was missing out of my life. I was just eating wrong. And then, you go through your phase in college where they kick you out, and you wind up piling on piling on the pounds because people are going to take you out to eat. You're socializing with your friends. I was never a drinker, never smoked, never drank anything in my life. But the thing is that everything I did with my friends centered around food. We hang out on the weekends. He said, "What do you want to do?" You go out to eat. So it became like a social eater too. And it just became a part of eating out. Became a part of my way of life. Essentially. You don't know what people are putting in your food. But once again, the thing that was missing was eating dried seeds, vegetables. I was a vegetarian so many times. I went through that phase. I was a vegetarian for 3 years straight. Once, and I was probably at my biggest being a vegetarian. But I was.
So now, how does that happen? Because I know a lot of, I have heard that and seen it so many times where people cut out meat.
Yeah.
And then they just balloon.
Yeah.
So